Yngve Slyngstad, the CEO of Industry Capital Partners. Great to have you with us. Of course, he was the former head of Norges Bank Investment Management, the $1.3 trillion sovereign wealth fund, so brings plenty of experience to the table. I just want to start off asking you how you feel the mood has been the last couple of days. How do you think people are feeling about next year?
So I actually think it's, if not optimistic, certainly not. It's more positive, more constructive than what it's just been just a few months ago.
Yeah, and why is that the case? Because, you know, we sit on our shows, we have many people come in and they talk about the state of the global economy, recession, the fact that global trade is pulling back. Where do you think this optimism is coming from?
Well, I think if you look at it in practice, of course, we have had a very difficult situation, particularly in Europe, with war, COVID, etc. But given those circumstances, if you look 3 years back and knew that we're going to be in this situation, Europe is coping quite well. Energy crisis seems to be less of a problem than it looked like just a couple of months ago. And people are sort of thinking that maybe inflation also is tapering away a bit.
Well, I want to pick you up on those comments because you are the CEO of a company that deals with the energy transition. How would you rate how Europe is dealing and how effective they've been essentially at diversifying energy sources away from Russia?
Well, it's a long way to go, right?
Yeah.
Quarter of Europe's energy consumption was natural gas. 40% of that was from Russia,
yeah.
And it has to be filled first of all with LNG. But we've been kind of lucky to the extent it was easier to take the LNG into Europe than we expected, of course, with the floating facilities we put in place. And there's more ships out there, more coming from the US. So in fact, we've been able to fill that gas gap more easily than what was expected.
Yeah.
Of course, the problem is going to be next year.
Well, exactly. That's what I was going to say. So people say that for this winter, things are looking good, but perhaps we should be concerned about next winter because we're going to have to go through the same process again. Europeans are going to have to fill up their storage facilities, continue to find other sources at a time where potentially China could have opened up as well. Do you worry about future winters?
Well, certainly there's three important factors. First of all, gas was flowing to Europe for the first half of this year.
Yeah.
It's not going to do that for the first half of next year. China is probably picking up again. And of course, it may be less beneficial with regards to the weather circumstances and so on. So Europe may have more of an energy crisis next winter than what we have now. But so far, the continent has been handling it quite well.
And what do you make of the transition so far towards alternative uses, more renewable sources of energy in Europe? I mean, if you look at geographically, Europe is leading the pack in terms of energy composition. I think about 20% of European energy source does come from renewables. Is that high enough, and are we shifting fast enough?
Definitely not. We have to build faster and more and being more efficient in pulling it out. Policy has been changed, put in place more incentives. US is moving faster than Europe now with the new IRA, and so is also China.
Do you think that the Europeans need to introduce a piece of legislation similar to IRA? Obviously, there are state aid rules and things that hold Europe back, but would that be welcome in your space?
It would be welcome, but it's a bit difficult to see how it's going to happen because it's not one common tax regime in Europe that can give those kind of incentives, and you don't have kind of a common state planning that you have in China. So Europe structurally have more of a problem to put in place the right incentives.
Do you think the IRA is going to take investment opportunities away from Europe to the US? I mean, this is something that European policymakers have been quite vocal about. Especially the last month or so, we had President Macron, we're here in France, and he has been very critical of IRA because in his eyes it promotes unfair competition.
Well, it's more of a worry we have long-term with regards to climate issue than unfair competition, so we have to get this going anyway. But reality is, of course, that incentives in the US now are much stronger, and you can see it's actually quite a lot of the European actors bidding for the wind licenses, both on the East Coast and West Coast of the US now.